There's one question I often ask myself. What really makes a person attractive? I used to think it was all about appearance, but as I observed the people around me, I realized there was something far more powerful: personality. Then I started wondering, do I have an attractive personality? That's when I discovered a few key signs. If you have some of these, you might be more attractive than you think. I once read a quote from Socrates: "Know thyself." And I believe this is the key. True confidence isn't about feeling superior to others. It's about understanding who you are, embracing your strengths, and accepting your flaws. Many people mistake confidence for arrogance, but they're worlds apart. Arrogance thrives on comparison, needing to prove something to others. Confidence, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't seek approval or validation. It simply exists. To be truly confident, you don't have to be the loudest in the room. You just have to trust yourself. When you know your values, when you acknowledge both your potential and your limitations, you stand firm. Not because you think you're better, but because you no longer need to compete. So confidence isn't about thinking you're above others. It's about knowing your worth and carrying yourself with quiet strength. And that, I believe, is the kind of confidence that lasts. There was a time when I focused more on what I wanted to say rather than truly listening. I would wait for my turn to speak, thinking about my response instead of genuinely absorbing what the other person was saying. But then I realized something. Truly attractive and charismatic people aren't the best talkers. They're the best listeners. Dale Carnegie, author of How to Win Friends and Influence People, once said, "Being a good listener encourages others to talk more about themselves, and that makes you more likable." And he was right. People don't just want to be heard. They want to be understood. When you listen, not just with your ears, but with your full attention, you create a space where others feel valued. And in turn, they feel drawn to you. Listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding emotions, reading between the lines, and showing that you care. So now, I make a conscious effort to listen, not just to respond, but to connect. And that has made all the difference. I'm not a comedian and I don't have a stand-up routine, but I've learned something powerful. Laughter brings people closer. There's a certain magic in humor, a way it breaks down walls and turns strangers into friends. Victor Borge, a famous comedian and pianist, once said, "Laughter is the shortest distance between two people." And he was right. I've noticed that whenever I make someone laugh, even with a simple joke or a lighthearted comment, the connection between us instantly grows stronger. Laughter dissolves tension, eases awkward moments, and reminds us not to take life too seriously. It's not about being the funniest person in the room. It's about sharing joy. A well-timed joke, a playful remark, or even laughing at yourself can brighten someone's day. And in those moments, bonds are formed and memories are made. So I may not be a comedian, but I've learned that a little laughter can make life and relationships a whole lot better. I once met someone with an incredible personality, not just because they were kind, but because they truly cared. They didn't just listen, they understood. They didn't just hear words, they felt emotions. That's when I realized that empathy isn't just about understanding others. It's about making them feel seen, heard, and valued. Maya Angelou beautifully put it, "People will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel." And it's true. We may not always have the right words, but a simple act of empathy, being there, showing kindness, offering a listening ear, can mean everything to someone going through a tough time. Empathy isn't about fixing problems. It's about letting people know they're not alone. And in a world that often feels rushed and disconnected, choosing to care is one of the most powerful things we can do. So, I strive to be that person, the one who listens, who understands, and who reminds others that they matter. I started noticing something about the most interesting people. They always have something they love. It could be art, music, sports, science, or even the simple joy of learning. But the moment they start talking about it, their eyes light up. There's an energy in their words, a spark that draws you in. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And I believe that's what makes passionate people so captivating. Passion gives life meaning. It fuels resilience, creativity, and joy. When someone talks about what they love, it's contagious. You can feel their enthusiasm, and it inspires you to find your own. That's why I believe in having something that excites me, something that makes me want to keep learning and growing. Because passion isn't just about what you do, it's about how you live. And when you have that, life becomes a lot more fulfilling. I used to be easily triggered, quick to anger, quick to react. But over time, I realized that having an attractive personality isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about managing them well. There will always be moments that test our patience, frustrating people, unexpected setbacks, difficult conversations. But I've learned that real strength isn't in reacting impulsively. It's in pausing, processing, and responding with clarity. Daniel Goleman, author of Emotional Intelligence, once said that emotional intelligence is even more important than IQ in building strong relationships. And it makes sense. People are drawn to those who remain calm under pressure, who handle conflicts with grace, and who can navigate emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Emotions are powerful, but they don't have to control us. The more we understand them, the better we can use them. Not as obstacles, but as tools for deeper connections, better decisions, and a more balanced life. So now, instead of letting my emotions dictate my actions, I choose to master them. And that has made all the difference. I once met someone who always spoke the truth, even when it was difficult. They didn't try to impress people or say what others wanted to hear. They were simply themselves. And that's when I realized something. Honesty builds trust, and trust makes a person truly attractive. We live in a world where people often wear masks, showing only what they think others will approve of. But real confidence comes from authenticity, the courage to be yourself without pretending to be someone you're not. Warren Buffett once said, "It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it." And that's why I always choose honesty, not just in my words, but in my actions. Because honesty isn't just about telling the truth. It's about being real, standing by your values, and treating others with integrity. At the end of the day, people may not always like what I say, but they will always know they can trust me, and that's something worth holding on to. I used to avoid conflicts, thinking that was the best way to keep the peace. But over time, I realized that ignoring problems doesn't make them disappear. It only makes them grow. True strength isn't in avoiding conflict, it's in handling it with wisdom and grace. Mature people don't create drama. They resolve issues calmly. They don't let emotions take over or turn disagreements into battles. Instead, they listen, they communicate, and they seek solutions rather than blame. I've learned that conflict, when handled the right way, can actually strengthen relationships. It builds trust, deepens understanding, and teaches us how to navigate differences without losing respect for one another. So now, I don't run from difficult conversations. I face them with patience and clarity, knowing that maturity isn't about avoiding problems, it's about solving them with integrity. I used to hold on tightly to my own opinions, thinking I had everything figured out. But then I realized something. When I became more open to different perspectives and experiences, people found it easier to connect with me. Conversations became richer, and I started learning from others in ways I never expected. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." And that's exactly how I see it now. Every interaction, every new perspective has the power to change us, if we let it. Being open-minded doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It means being willing to listen, to consider new ideas, and to challenge our own beliefs. The truth is, people are drawn to those who are curious, adaptable, and willing to grow. So I choose to keep an open mind, not just because it makes me more relatable, but because it makes life more interesting. Life isn't perfect. There will always be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But I've realized something. Attractive people aren't the ones who have no problems. They're the ones who choose to find the silver lining in every situation. Optimism isn't about ignoring reality. It's about focusing on what can be learned, what can be improved, and what's still possible. It's about choosing gratitude over complaints, solutions over excuses, and hope over fear. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate positivity, not in a fake, overly cheerful way, but in a way that makes others feel lighter, more hopeful, and inspired. So now, I choose to see the bright side. Not because life is always easy, but because perspective is powerful. And the way I see the world shapes the way I experience it. I once wondered why some people are always missed when they're not around. What made them so special? Then I realized it wasn't just their words or actions, it was how they made others feel. They had a way of making people feel valued, seen, and appreciated. It doesn't take much. A simple compliment, a genuine smile, or a heartfelt thank you can make a huge difference. People don't just remember what you do, they remember how you make them feel. And when someone feels appreciated, they feel more confident, more motivated, and more connected. I've learned that making others feel valued isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, everyday moments. It's about listening when someone speaks, recognizing their efforts, and reminding them that they matter. Because at the end of the day, the most memorable people aren't always the loudest or the most impressive. They're the ones who lift others up. And that's the kind of person I strive to be. I used to believe my happiness depended on other people, their approval, their presence, their validation. But over time, I learned something important. True happiness comes from within. Attractive people don't rely on others to feel complete. They are whole on their own. They don't wait for someone else to make them happy because they've already found joy in who they are and what they do. That doesn't mean they don't appreciate relationships or meaningful connections. It just means their happiness isn't fragile. It doesn't disappear when others walk away. They cultivate their own peace, their own purpose, and their own fulfillment. I've realized that when you take responsibility for your own happiness, you become more confident, more independent, and ultimately, more magnetic. Because the most attractive people aren't those who need others to be happy. They're the ones who bring happiness wherever they go. There was a time when I found it hard to say no. I wanted to please everyone, avoid conflict, and keep the peace. But over time, I realized something important. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's an act of self-respect. Attractive people understand this. They know that protecting their time, energy, and emotions is not only necessary, it's healthy. They don't let others overstep their limits, and they don't tolerate negativity or toxicity. Setting boundaries means knowing what you need to thrive, and not being afraid to walk away from situations or people that drain you. It means standing firm in your values, your time, and your well-being, even if it's uncomfortable at first. I've learned that saying no isn't a rejection of others. It's a way of saying yes to myself. And when you respect your own boundaries, others will too. I realized something important. The most magnetic people are those who are always growing. They don't settle for what they already know. They constantly seek to expand their knowledge, refine their skills, and broaden their horizons. They never assume they know everything. The desire to learn doesn't just make you more knowledgeable, it makes you more fascinating. When you're curious, open to new ideas, and committed to improvement, you become a person others want to be around. You bring fresh perspectives, interesting conversations, and a sense of energy that draws people in. Learning isn't just about gaining facts. It's about developing as a person, challenging your own limits, and being open to change. And the best part? It keeps life exciting. The more you grow, the more you realize there's always something new to explore. And that's what keeps you alive with possibility. So, I make growth a priority, not because I want to be perfect, but because I want to be the best version of myself. Have you ever been around someone and felt naturally comfortable without even knowing why? That's the power of energy. It's something unspoken, yet deeply felt. Attractive people radiate positive energy. They bring warmth, optimism, and a sense of calm wherever they go. It's not about what they say or do. It's about how they make others feel simply by being present. They uplift, inspire, and make people feel lighter in their presence. I've learned that positivity isn't just about being cheerful all the time. It's about carrying a sense of peace, openness, and genuine kindness. When you approach the world with a positive mindset, you naturally attract others who are drawn to that energy. So now, I focus on cultivating positive energy, not only for myself, but for the people I encounter. Because the more I radiate positivity, the more I bring light into the world around me. If you do believe me, you're more attractive than you think. It's not just about looks or external traits. It's about the energy, the authenticity, and the qualities you carry within you. These are the things that truly draw people in and make you stand out. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." And he's right. The depth of who we are, the strength of our character, and the way we carry ourselves, it all matters far more than any outside circumstances. When you focus on growing from within, everything else falls into place. So take a moment to recognize your own value. You're already more attractive than you think, simply by being true to who you are.